Hey everyone, my name is Bill Somerville, and this is the Earnings Per Call show. It is a show where we're going to speak about everything that has anything to do with pay-per-call. And today's guest that we have on is Kevin D. Vincenzi.
Got it right.
Hit it?
You hit it.
Yes! The interview is going fantastic already. Kevin, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Right.
I mean, I'm in southeastern Florida right now with palm trees. You are also in a place with palm trees, so I got nothing to complain about. So, Kevin, I wanted to have you on the show. You're one of the guests I got really excited about. First time I saw you online was actually from the Paper Caller show that was on with Adam Young over at Ringba. I listened to, in preparation for the show, I listened to every bit of audio from Adam, every single one of the shows, from the first show all the way down to the last show. Yeah. And you were one of the shows that I was like, hey, this guy, he knows what he's doing. I didn't quite believe you when you said that you were in internet marketing since like 1996?
96, yeah. Started out early.
I was like, what is this guy, Al Gore? Was he going to say he's inventing the internet now? Like, internet marketing in 96, like, well, I mean, was he just setting away messages on?
Yeah, it's actually an interesting story, Bill. I owned a wireless store in Las Vegas, so pagers and cell phones.
Okay.
And one day I was out in a boat in Lake Mead, and I got a call from a fellow friend in the entrepreneur room. And she said, hey, I have this kid that he's selling a credit repair book online, and he can't process his credit cards. Can you help him? And back then, there's no third-party processing rules or anything. So I said, sure, I'll help the kid out, again, for nothing. So we processed his cards or what have you, and he said, well, how can I pay you back? What do you have that I can sell? So we looked through all our inventory and said, well, we have this Forever pager where basically you can sell it nationwide. It's a beeper. Imagine those days. I think you're too young to know what a beeper was, but.
Yeah, I definitely did not have a beeper in 96. I don't know what I was doing in 96, but.
But you would buy this pager or beeper, and you'd pay one time, and service was free.
Okay.
You go, all right, we'll try it. We'll see if it works. So we put together a landing page, which, God, I wish I still had that landing page to see how bad it probably was. And he dropped some email. So, a couple of weeks went by, and I didn't hear anything. And then he drops email. It's a Saturday night, and I get a call from that mutual friend, and she goes, Kevin, did you see how many orders we got? And I'm like, no, actually, I'm at the casino, whatever. And she goes, yeah, we got, and I forget what it was, a couple hundred orders. And I'm like, what?
Oh.
Yeah, let me get my car and let me get home. And we did that for about a year, and we manually processed every sale. It was crazy. I had a 100-gallon fish tank that had storage on the bottom, and the whole bottom was just filled with the credit card tape from us doing the manual processing, roll by roll.
That is awesome. That is an awesome story.
Yeah, after that, I was hooked and, started learning email marketing. And I was, doing a lot of email marketing from, 97 till 2000 when canned spam came in.
Okay.
And at that point, I was already working with affiliates, negotiating deals for them. So I figured, let me just start an affiliate network. Let me do what I do best anyway and do it that way and not have to worry about, servers and, class Cs and everything else. So that's where we started.
Wow. So, and that's a perfect segue because your interview with Adam was well put together. It was thorough. He asked you a lot of questions, even about your history in the industry. I don't want to hammer too much on that side of the fence, but what I do want to hammer into coming into 2020, January is a huge month for all of us. We have multiple conferences that are lined up, and I'm sure that you're, a guy that not only is going to be visiting most of the conferences, but also might even be receiving some awards at a conference. I really want to talk to you about what's got you excited in 2020. What you're going to be doing to generating traffic into leads, into calls. What kind of traffic sources you're going to use. So let's just kind of start
honestly,
there.
2020 is exciting for us in the pay-per-call space. We started pay-per-call back in 2007. We were one of the first pay-per-call networks, directcalls.com. And at that time doing drug rehab and a couple of other verticals. Now it's matured, and you like to see a market mature because once it matures, then the real opportunity's there. All the dead weight gets out of there, all the people that compliance, everything comes down to where you can actually do business. So
Sure.
right now, as I think you know yourself, it's a much easier business to do if you do business the right way, and there's a multitude of opportunity.
Yeah.
It's never going to stop, you know.
What else has got you stoked in 2020? Like insurance, tax?
Insurance, home services are really, really good. You know, we have a locksmith campaign, a mobile locksmith, which a lot of the traffic that we do internally. So a lot of what we do is we test internally first with our own traffic, whether Google, Bing, Yahoo, or Facebook. We test it, we prove it out. So then when we do work with affiliates, we bring that certain level of value where we say, this is working, and let me tell you why, or let me tell you how. So that's really what's exciting for us, is to get the niche products that we can drive intent-driven traffic to.
Okay. Interesting. So locksmith. So that's a really cool angle. I like that a lot because I'm going through a lot of pay-per-call courses right now, actually, and it's something we'll touch on later in the call. Like what you found to be helpful to you to stay on top of an industry that moves. So
Adam's
quickly.
got a great pay-per-call program as well.
Fantastic. Adams is great. I've also been into Gene Morris's over at Apollo Media. He runs that pay-per-call blueprint that's like absolutely fantastic. Gene, awesome. And then also one of the guys that we had on our first show, Carlos, he also has a Facebook group and his own pay-per-call course that I've been going through that has been a huge help as well. So I do think that's awesome that you can go to the affiliate and be like, hey, this is working. We know it's working. This isn't working. We've already spent thousands of dollars trying to figure this out, or tens of thousands of dollars. Save yourself the cash and the frustration and the time, and don't do this, but do this, but just find a way to do it better. That's pretty much what you're telling your affiliates.
Find where you can provide value, right? So you can give them the recipe, and then they can go and expand on that. That's really the key. Add their own flair or whatever to it. That's the biggest challenge with affiliates that don't make it in the space is there's no value prop. They're not doing anything different. They're not creating their own landing page or understanding what a consumer's journey is.
Okay.
So at that point, how are they going to make any money? It's not possible. I mean, you can rip landers all day long and you're going to have very limited success. Right?
Yeah.
It'll happen, and then something will happen in the market will change, and they're out of business, you know?
Just that quick. And they're scrambling to find something new.
It really is that quick. I mean, evolve or die in this business. You have to just keep evolving and keep testing and, you know, keep moving forward. Nothing, the only change is constant, right?
Yeah, no, and I can say from my own experience, you know, just ripping landing pages, and I did catch a little bit of success with it last year, and I was like, holy moly, this is great. You know, I think I'm going to be a millionaire. And then when it tanked, I really didn't have any place to go, and it really forced me, number one, to take a look at like, hey, this is easy come, easy go. You know, I bought a course for a couple $1,000 and I just did exactly what it said in the course. And I had success until a bunch of people came to the course, and then Facebook shut it all down. And then I also, that's what got me into affiliate marketing. And also even, you know, it made me look at like email, for instance. You said email. I didn't even know that was a big traffic source. Like, you used it back in '96. Are you still using a lot of email to generate traffic to your landing pages and your offers?
We're not, and that's more of a business decision due to liabilities. Okay. So we're not currently. It's still a great medium. The challenge is there's so many, you know, anti-spam attorneys out there that this is what they do for a living.
Yeah.
It's very, very tough to compete in that business. We, as of 2 months ago, are taking almost no email now.
Really?
Even email that was doing well. It's just that the liability is too great. Canned spam is written way too broadly, where they can go and they can keep all the complaints for a year and then unload them on you. So when we do get a claim, the claims that we get are 6-figure claims. They're very serious claims. And it's all that same person that just collected everything for a year and then, you know, took it to an attorney.
Yeah.
So it's just, it doesn't really make sense, unfortunately.
That'll sour your day.
Yeah, absolutely. We dealt with a few of them last year, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a, so my brother is an attorney, and his best friend went to University of Miami, and he's a TCPA litigator.
Yeah.
And I can tell you right now that I've never liked this guy. You know, we're not going to say his name. He's always been an asshole, and he's the perfect TCPA lawyer. Let's just say, right? Like he is a shark. He's like, I will find you. I will sue you. I sue people like you all day. It's what
now in California, you have CCPA that just came out. That's going to be enforced starting in July, and that's going to be a whole new set of, lawsuits coming out. California Privacy Act, where oh no, you didn't take my information off. Whether you did or not, you have the onus is on you to prove it. And the same thing. It's going to be the same bunch of what I call bogus claims. Coming after these people, so it's
how are you going to protect yourself against, besides just throwing something on the bottom of your landing page? Like, are you guys making any type of preparation as a network?
We are on some of our pages that we own and operate, bustedcheater.com, deepsearchpro.com, anything that we own the data on, we've got removal databases already in place and all the mechanisms are already done. We're 6 months ahead of the compliance deadline. Just because we know how we know the other side of it,
The conversation that we had like offline about like litigation and lawyers and stuff like that. I'm just like, wow, man. I guess it's just part of being a chef is like you're gonna get a couple nicks and you're gonna get a couple burns.
Yeah, right? But the thing, Bill, is if you learn from your mistakes, then you'll see coming in, whether it's in pay-per-call, if it's a certain traffic source, you'll know if there's liability or not, and if it's even worth you taking the risk, if the risk to reward's not even there in regards to the traffic. So, we've gotten very, very tight on compliance because I'd rather, make money and keep it as opposed to be like, oh, wow, we're making all this money and then you get hit with a lawsuit, because it's not even the lawsuit, it's the mental strain, it's the legal fees. There's so many different things that go into a lawsuit.
Sure.
We just settled one that I obviously can't get the details on, but I can tell you it was, and this was just a vendor that didn't pay us. The vendor ended up spending more than their invoice to defend. We ended up spending more than their invoice to fight them. And then they ended up paying their invoice for the settlement. So it was just insane. But it took 14 months, and for absolutely nothing. So my point is
everyone lost. It sounds like.
Try and understand and mitigate the risks going in so that you don't have them on the other end. So that's that all comes from experience. That all comes from understanding, learning from your mistakes and not doing the same thing over and over again.
That's what they say. Good decisions are just a result of a lot of terrible mistakes. So that brings up a really interesting topic because we want this show to be for some of the advanced marketers, but also some of the intermediate and beginner marketers as well.
Sure.
I mentioned that there's some due diligence that goes into whether you want to decide if you want to get involved in a campaign or not, because it could be legally. There could be a lot of legal obstacles in it. Is there like a standard operating procedure that you have when you're looking at a new offer where you're like, we might want to get in bed with this offer, or we're just going to stay the hell away from it? Like, do you have any, let's say, websites or groups or anything that you go into to ask about it?
We have groups that we use in regards to vetting advertisers, internet advertising, people don't pay, which is on Facebook. And there's a few different groups that we'll use. But as far as the offer, it's really just doing a due diligence to look at the offer and, see if the claims are misleading and if it makes sense,
Okay.
And then from the marketer end to see what the whole consumer journey is. I think this year, probably in the past 3 or 4 months, we've all gotten familiar with Journea and Trusted Form, but before that, there was none of it. It was just like, oh yeah, I send calls, okay, great, and then it's got a lawsuit. So it's definitely, that's what I said at the beginning of the interview. It's really exciting because now it has matured, where you can vet a publisher and ask those questions and understand what answers you're supposed to get, as opposed to before just rolling the dice.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, the guy said it's good, and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm staring down at the floor.
Yeah, it's good. Just run it.
Yeah, it's good.
It'll be all right.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So.
That's perfect.
And
I know that
there's a lot of clickbait too, where they'll the litigants will go and they'll call a number and hang up, and then when you call them back, that's a violation. So I don't know if you heard. That's call bait is what it's called. So they'll literally call your phone room bill, hang up, and you'll be like, oh, I missed the call. You'll call back and they'll say, oh, TCPA violation. You're in violation. That's why a couple of years ago, Wells Fargo paid an $8 million settlement. All these different huge institutions, they nailed them on technicalities at best. It's really a shame. But
yeah, well, there's got to be the ambulance chasers in every industry, so to speak,
sure.
you know, unfortunately.
Sure.
So coming into the tail end of this interview, because I don't want to keep you for too long here, but I am curious, you know, one of the things that, so one of my favorite interviewers is a guy named Tim Ferriss. I'm sure you've heard of him. Did the 4-hour work week.
4-hour work week. Yeah, great.
He always asks, like, hey, you know, what's a product or a service like in your industry, you know, under a specific dollar amount that's helped you drastically. And, you know, in the pay-per-call industry, is there, you know, a product or a service under $100 a month that you find yourself using routinely that you couldn't live without, that could help, you know, the earnings for the audience?
From keep in mind, we do a lot of search marketing internal. So from a search marketing standpoint, there's a company that came out called Adleg, ADLEG.com.
Okay.
And this is just a marketer that had made a bunch of tools to help himself with marketing in regards to taking keyword lists and making them broad exact phrase, you know, by pressing a button, adding locations, like a lot of different things that are very tedious if you want to open up a bunch of Excel spreadsheets.
Sure.
And you put it all up for $49 a month, which is great. Again, when you look at it, you're like, man, this looks like, you know, he built the site in 2000, but it all works. So it doesn't have the bells and whistles, you know, but it all works. So yeah, so that's what, for under $50, I'd recommend that. If you're doing any sort of search marketing, it's definitely a big.
Okay. What about over that price mark? Anything that you like that's a little bit more on the expensive side, but you can't live without?
In search, Opteo, we use daily, Opteo.com for search marketing. It just gives us really quick indicators. And again, we buy a lot of search, so it gives us quick indicators on losing ads and things that we have to make adjustments on that you might not see manually.
Okay.
So that's really good.
Interesting. Okay.
And then Optimizer is another one that we use, but that's pretty pricey. It's almost $1,000 a month for our Google as well.
Interesting. So those are the tools. Those are great tools. I've heard of some of those tools before. Some of them I have not. So pay-per-callers, I hope that helps you out a lot. And resources, online resources. I know the last guy that we had on, Carlos, phenomenal guest at the Earnings Per Call show. His resource was actually, Adam's course and his own course. Do you have any type of websites or blogs or anything that you find yourself going to
I'll give you one of the oldest ones out there that's still one of the best, StackThatMoney.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also highly recommend it as well.
Because no matter what you look for or what you search, there's threads on it, right? There's so much data out there. The group is all highly engaged because everybody's paying a premium to be a member. So that's definitely a high recommendation from me.
Perfect. Are you active on Stack That Money now?
Yep, sure am.
Nice. Do you have like a weird handle or something?
No, XY7 Kevin.
Oh, is it? All right. All right.
I was one of the first guys on there, so one of the early adopters. So it's
nice, man. All right. Well, hell, you're an OG at STM, and then of course just in the industry in general. That's awesome. I love it.
Thanks.
And you're lighting back up a radio show in here.
Yeah, we are. We did a radio show about 10 years ago for a year. It was called Inbox Radio. Actually, Adam Young from Ringba we called him Dr. Delivery. We had a great time. It was a lot of fun. But after a year, it just, it was time to move on. That was pre-podcast days. So everything was done on Webmaster Radio. Production was a pain. I mean, we had a green screen. We had, we really had to do a lot. So it'll be a weekly podcast talking about pay-per-call, search, anything in the industry that's related. Bennett Kelly, ValueClick's old lead counsel. He's still our attorney. He'll be on the show because he's been on the show previously, offering insights on legalities, what's coming, what to look out for, things like that. So it'll be very informational, and we look forward to doing it. It'll be a good way to give back.
Yeah, absolutely. And when should we keep our eyes and ears out for that?
Early February is when we'll launch.
Okay.
And the other key is we're taking no sponsors.
You're taking no sponsors?
No sponsors. A lot of these podcasts have sponsors. We're doing no sponsors. The only thing that we will look at would be product consideration. So let's say it's Opteo or AdLake. To review a product, we'll do that. But we're not going to do any sponsorships. Just because, again, we're doing it to give back. We're not doing it to make money. A lot of these podcasts, the content's good, but every 5 minutes they're pitching one thing or another thing, and it takes away from it. We were talking about Business Wars Daily, so the content's great, but in that little 5-minute blurb, they have I think it's a HP or Pitney Bowes or something commercial up front and then one at the end. So literally within 5 minutes, you're hearing that same commercial over and over again. And if you're, binge consuming like I am, I listen to it with an ear pod when I'm going to sleep or whatever. I might listen to it, 5 or 10 episodes, 5-minute episodes. You're hearing that commercial over and over and over again. It just, it takes away from it, So I think it takes away from the content. So that we're doing it just to deliver content. I figured, why are we going to take sponsors? We don't need to make that little bit of incremental revenue. If there's a tool that wants to be reviewed and they want to give us a login so we can do an actual review on it all day long, we'll do anything like that. Or a review on a site or what have you. That will do, but actual sponsorships, we won't.
Cut it out. Yeah, if you don't need it, then what's the point of selling it?
Yeah.
I feel like this is a good time for me to name drop OfferVault TV, our sponsor of the
There you
show.
go. Exactly. Go for it. Go for it.
That's awesome. Well, man, hey, thank you so much for joining us on the show. I appreciate it. And, how do we contact you? Has anyone get a hold of you that wants to either ask you some questions or do some business?
I've been called one of the most approachable CEOs in the industry. Kevin at xy7.com. KD Vincenzi, which you pronounce properly, great. My Skype name, you can reach me either of those ways pretty easily.
Right on, man. All right, well, hey, thanks again for being on the show. I appreciate it, and have a great day, man.
I'll see you at the Affiliate Summit.
Be good.
All right, peace.